Hello, my name is Jack Duncliffe, and today I want to talk to you about the limitations of effect size studies. What we're going to learn today comes under three main headings. These are the meaning of limitations of effect size studies, what are the limitations of effect size studies, and how we counteract these limitations. Limitations of effect size studies is essentially the constraints of how precise our effect size studies are. I want you to note that there are many variables that can affect the accuracy of our effect size studies. I want you to play a rapid activity here. I want you to play in pairs a quick game of rock, paper, scissors. I want the winners to sit on the right hand side of the room and the losers to sit on the left hand side of the room. I want you to discuss in your groups, winners and losers, at least three possibilities of what you think can limit the success of effect size studies. And then I want the losers to present this to the class of what they came up with. The winners don't have to present to the class because they won, and essentially this just incorporated friendly competition into the school environment. Limitations of effect size studies, there are many, but firstly I want to talk to you about the Hawthorne effect. The Hawthorne effect took place in Hawthorne suburb in Chicago. People began to modify their behaviour simply because something was different, or even if something was changed, or even simply because they knew they were being observed. This led to long-term studies tending to have lower effect sizes. Just because if something was a short-term study, their effect sizes were higher because they knew they were being observed, they knew something was changed, or they knew something was different, so their behaviour was modified, and then the effect size studies went up. But when this behaviour or modification grew longer and extended over a long period of time, the effect size studies decreased. So other effect sizes are limits of effect sizes. Effect sizes are found by mean, meaning they are only an average. This assumes that all learners have the same skills and needs because an average leads out a whole range of people. These limitations also continue because what works well in one sample study might not work as well in the classroom, because every group of people have different skills and abilities. We also do not know why these methods work, and it is very important to understand why something works, because if we don't understand why something works, how do we know it works? Most of these studies were crafted in a school environment, meaning they are not suitable for other levels of learning, such as college or even play school. We aren't comparing the exact same studies in meta-analysis, because it boils down to human error. We are all slightly different in understanding to certain words and practices, etc. So what one human understands a certain word or practice to be, another human might not have the same ability or understanding of what this word or practice means to them. Counteracting these limitations falls under two categories. Qualitative studies of your teaching methods, or you can observe the best teachers. Qualitative studies of your teaching methods, you can check in with your students, you can ask them questions so they give you formative feedback, you can do interviews, surveys, you can have a focus group, you can even do your self-assessment, you can observe a recording of yourself, or you can do secondary research so you understand why these effect sizes are so positive. We know that the most constructive teaching methods do tend to have the highest effect sizes. So the things that the class likes, or the practices that a class likes and the students like that practice, they do tend to have the highest effect sizes. So if you check in with your students and you understand what they like, you can then modify your classroom to how they like you teaching them, and then their effect sizes will be greater. If you check in with the best of your colleagues and observe their teaching methods, you'll begin to notice that these teaching methods correlate with the highest effect sizes relating to their pedagogic approach. For 3 minutes, I want you to do a quick assessment activity. I want the winners of rock, paper, scissors to defend effect size studies, and the losers of rock, paper, scissors will attack effect size studies. And I just want to use this as a way to give formative feedback to the classroom on their understanding of the limitations of effect size studies. The learning outcomes of today's presentation that are understanding the basis of folk psychology, know how to calculate effect sizes and how they can be effective, understand how meta-analysis relates to effect sizes, gain great insight into high impact education practices, and knowledge how limitations can affect or effect effect size studies.